Hey,
All right. Good night. Yeah, good night, everyone. Sorry, just came downstairs from getting the kids to bed, but tonight we're here and we're have the lovely Mama Star with us.
hey, y'all.
Hey, welcome to Three Crows Conversation. Let me ground and center a little bit.
Catch your breath, baby. Catch your breath.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining in. Yes, today is the day that we have Mama Star. How you doing, Mama?
Hmm. I'm a little tired. I drove in from New Orleans because they got that hurricane brewing over there. So I got
Yes.
up early this morning and drove home, and then I had some consultations this afternoon, but they were set up because I thought I was going to be over there. But I got everything done. Got
Good.
my man fed. He's laid up in the house watching TV with the dogs, so I'm good.
Yeah, you're awesome, Mama. You're awesome. I'm glad you made it home safe.
Oh, yeah. Well, the traffic wasn't really bad. When I went last week, it was ridiculous. In a bad day, it takes me like 4.5 hours to get there. It took
Mhm.
me over 8 hours to get there. It
Wow,
was horrible, just horrible.
that is crazy.
I know.
Crazy. Well, oh no. Okay. So, in case everybody doesn't know, TJ is on the computer that I was on, and I'm on the computer he was on because he's trying to figure out the technical issues. So, just work with us.
It's
But mom,
always something.
always something. You gotta love technology.
Mhm.
Seriously. Well, I'm glad you're having a good day. But tonight's conversation, it's about initiations and then conjure. Also, mainly,
Yes.
Mama, you've been doing this for a long time. I mean, you were raised
Yeah.
so.
Professionally, when I moved to this town, um, I started working professionally. So that's the year me and my husband got married. So in December, we'll be married 41 years, but we lived together a year before we got married. So, yeah, when I started reading cards here, the price was $5 a reading.
Wow,
Yeah, yeah.
wow. I remember those days where I did like $20 readings. At $5
Mhm.
now. Wow.
But back then, you got to understand, back then in the early 80s, 80, 81. Bread only cost what, 35 cents back then. So
Yeah.
I could get bread, milk, and eggs with $5,
Not.
to feed my
Yeah.
kids and to help,
That,
with the house.
Mama, was this always a call into you? I mean,
Yes, I've always been like this, but I ran from it. I didn't want to be like this. I always felt like I was different. Um, And I guess we all are different. Our gifts make us different. But when I was 25, when you try to run from your gift, spirit is going to throw struggles up. Um, and when I moved here, because I was an outsider and I'm still an outsider, my kids went to school here and everything, but I still don't fit in with the folks here in this community per se. And I've been here all these years. But when I first moved here, you had to know somebody to get a job.
wow.
And spirit led me to my nana. I had never in my life cooked in a restaurant. And someone told me that she was hiring. And so I was like, well, I told Chuck, I'm going to go try to fill out one more application, one more, and let's see what happens. And so when I walked in, I noticed her right away, and it was something about her. Well, she noticed me and it was something about me. So she gave me my first job here in this town. And she owned a steakhouse. But not only that, she was one of my mentors. And she literally taught me how to cook in a restaurant.
Wow.
I didn't have a clue what I was doing, but she taught me. And so after that, I never had another job, a problem getting a job here. And then I started reading for folks, and then that just kind of like opened the door up. You know, you can't just come to my house. I have like a 6-foot privacy fence over my yard, surrounds my whole yard. And Chuck's got this big old garage. So the privacy fence gate, you can't get in it. It's locked. It stays locked. You have to go to the garage. So you can't just come here, you know. And I like it like that. And it's been like that for a very long time. So in order to come here, you have to let me know that you're coming. There's no surprises, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think privacy is a huge factor, especially when you're a worker. I mean, it's a must, honestly.
Well, I don't like nosy people, and I don't like folks that can't mind their own damn business, you know, and they always think that they got to be sticking their nose in other folks' business. I don't like that at all. And I'm well known for that here. Don't get in my business. Don't come here uninvited. I'm serious, y'all, really. Like, everybody knows that, you know, and that's just how I am. If I want you to come here, I'll say, hey, come on over, you know, but other than that, you don't come here, you know, and it may be the way my mama raised me, you know, because there was a lot of folks in and out of our house when I was growing up when my daddy wasn't at home. And I now know my mama was working, you know, that's obvious.
Right.
But when my daddy came home, my mama didn't have I'm like her. She didn't have a bunch of folks that she hung with. And I'm just not that kind of girl because I have found in these years of living that there's not very many folks that you can truly trust, you know, and it's hurtful. It's hurtful because you think you can trust them, but it always ends up some kind of mess, you know, and it doesn't matter how good you are to them, you know, or how much you love them. It doesn't matter. It's human nature. So to keep the fuss and muss and keep me out of jail, I just don't deal with folks like that. I just really don't.
I understand, Mama. I hate to say it, but well, I don't hate to say it, but I am the same way. So,
and it's sad. It's sad, you know, because you lose a lot of blessings, you know, because there are folks that are meant to come into your life to bring you blessings.
Yes.
I'm just slow going with it. I got to get to now. There's people that I know that I've known for 40 years. You know, I'll sit down and have a meal with them, but like hanging out every day, going shopping. No, I do that with my kids. I do that with my family.
Hi. Good, Amanda.
All right.
You couldn't get it going, son?
I think I got it, Mama. That's what I'm doing down here. See? There we go.
Okay.
Now, you didn't want to be called Amanda no more?
No, somebody was like, I think they got their name switched.
Oh.
I can't change these, but you can do this. Like if you go through here and look at people's questions, like see if you want to put that, you just hit that and look, it'll pop that up there.
Okay.
And then you just hit that and they'll hide it.
All right.
But I can't do it. They won't let me for some reason.
Really? Okay. All right. But yeah, I mean, I'm the firm believer. I mean, Mama, I know when I met you, it was just like I was so grateful because I mean, you were familiar to me, you know.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm really good to people. I have just learned that when I get around somebody, if those little voices in my head start clicking, and sometimes they don't click until it's too late, but most of the time they do, then I'm sure I'm a little standoffish. But that's just how I am. But when I love my people, and I'll do anything, for my kids, for my people. I'll do whatever I can do for them.
Yes. And we're
I
grateful.
just have to cut through the bull crap. I don't deal well with mess. I never have. I never have. My mama, she raised us to mind our own business. And she used to tell us, if you can't say something nice about somebody, then don't say anything at all, unless you're pushed to say it. Now, if you're pushed to say it, then just let it flow, And so I've always tried to live by that, and I don't feel like I'm rude. Some folks think I'm rude, but I don't feel like I am. I'm just not going to put on. I've never been a two-faced person. What you see is what you get, and that's just how I am. Everybody knows where they stand with me. Everybody. You ain't got to guess about it or think about it. You know.
All right. I got to say this. I got to ask you this question, Mama. I'm seeing two women right above me right now that I respect the hell out of, first off. And second off, do you ever find it that because you are who you are, as far as what you see is what you get, that people find that to be an intimidating factor for you?
They do. They do. And that's why I'm not invited to a lot of events and to do this, to do that. But you know what? I don't care, because I don't want to do them anyway.
I hear you.
I'm a one-woman show. I like to do whatever I want to do,
Yeah.
And it really doesn't bother me, because it doesn't take anything away from me.
Right.
And I understand. I've been doing this a long time, and I'm pretty sure that some folks feel like, I overshadow them. That has never, y'all, hold on just a minute. Hold on a second. Hey, Chad. I did because of the hurricane. Yeah. Joshua is supposed to go stay with Pickles. Yeah, I thought y'all were still asleep this morning when I left, and I've been busy since I got home, and I forgot to text y'all. I'm sorry. Yes, yeah, y'all stay safe over there, please. Okay. All right. All right, baby. Yeah, let me know that y'all are okay. All right. All right. Bye. Sorry about that, y'all. I forgot to tell your neighbors that I was leaving this morning. And so Piccolitos is over there because Maurice is in Nebraska. And so he was calling to check on Pickles, but Joshua got him.
Okay.
So Joshua should be over there with Piccolitos.
He's a handful, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, that's a hot little mess right there. I made him breakfast yesterday because he woke me up at like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning crying because he sleeps with Maurice. But when he's not there, he sleeps in the kitchen, which is right next to my bedroom. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm going to get up and make you breakfast. Just go back to bed right now. So we went back to sleep, and I got up and made him bacon and egg whites and toast. And he even ate the toast.
Did he really?
I cook for him when I'm over there sometime.
Oh,
little spoiled boy.
Yes. I love that painting behind you, by the way, Mama. That's awesome.
Let me move my head so you can see. One of Candelo's goddaughters painted that, and I bought it from her last November. Isn't it fabulous?
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're in her house. I feel real comfortable, and I missed it, because I wasn't here. So
Go ahead, hon.
No, I was just gonna say, if y'all have any questions that you'd like to ask Mama Star or even us, please feel free to add them in the comments. You can add them in there if you're watching on Facebook or even on YouTube. We will see them and we'll put your questions up there. So feel free to do that as well.
Yes.
Turn this phone off so we don't have no more interruptions.
Hey, it's always good. You're really checking up.
Oh, you're on.
Well, yeah, Chad, they're real good. Those guys are fabulous. I love them to death. And I did forget to tell them this morning, because I had such a bad time going, I didn't want to get stuck in traffic. So I hustled and got out of there.
Yeah.
And it may not do more than be a tropical storm. That's a blessing. Maybe that's all it's going to be. But I couldn't take a chance because Chuck was already calling, wanting me to get home.
Sure. Yeah, between Texas and Louisiana, both taking beatings over the past few years with hurricanes, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, the weather's been just perfect storm for these hurricanes.
Well, that's the price you pay for living in Texas, and I live like 15 minutes from the beach. So it's just how it is here. If it gets too bad, then you move around. If it don't, then you just stay home. Like this Amelda really flooded out here. Even the prayer house got a little water. The roof leaked. I got the roof fixed. And so this last one, I was like, oh no, we're not going to stay. First off, Chuck can't swim, and then we have our dogs. And so we left and nothing happened. And that was a blessing. That was the week before my initiation. So I was sitting out of the breezeway when we was deciding if we were going to leave or not. And I was like, Lord, Spirit, what y'all trying to tell me? Should I not be getting initiated or what? And they were like, oh no, you're going to get initiated. And I was like, well, how is that going to happen? And they were like, don't worry about it. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it did happen. And that is one of the biggest blessings in my life, other than meeting my husband and meeting Pop Hector and having my kids and of course, my grandkids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I never thought that I would get initiated. I've done this so long, and nothing ever kind of like sunk in with me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to change my beliefs to try to fit into something. I'm just not going to do that, because I feel like that would be disrespecting my ancestors, disrespecting the spirits that walk with me, and disrespecting myself. And so I've had chances over the years, I could have become a Santera, a Palera. I was like, oh no, I can't do Palo because I'm too much for that. Yeah, no, I can't be doing none of that. No, that's not even going to be good for me or other folks. So no. And then I thought about the voodoo, right? The Haitian voodoo, but my spirits were like, no, 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 no. And then when I met Papa Hector, it's been over 3 years ago, and he never said anything to me about, getting initiated or none of that.
Right.
But I asked him questions because something came up about the prophet Elijah. And so he told me that in the 21 divisions that's the Baron. And then something came up about St. Martha. I'm asking him all these questions. And then he tells me that that's the Baron's wife. And I was like, oh. And this is when I first met him. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, okay. I was like, I've been working with both of those for, I can't even remember when I never had, didn't have them in my life.
Mhm.
And so then we just chatted. And then next year he came to our event, St. John's Eve, and we chatted some more. And so he never brought up initiation to me or anything. And then it's been about a year ago. I don't know, it just came on my spirit. I want to know more. So I PM'd him on Facebook and I asked him,
Mhm.
if you would teach me more. And he was like, I've been waiting for you. He said, Father always knows their child. And so from there on, I studied for a whole year,
Mhm.
almost a year, and this is what we got.
Mhm.
That's awesome. That's beautiful.
And it so it's not really it's a change, but it's not really a change. I mean,
Mhm.
yes, the spirits have a completely different feel about them,
Mhm.
but it's not like I'm coming in blindsided and don't know or do not know the feeling
Mhm.
of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making sense or
No,
not.
no, that makes perfect sense. I mean,
Right?
they
Um,
show.
so for me, this is like I just came full circle.
Yes.
And I don't think that I would have done it if it wouldn't have been for Papa Hector himself. I'm a
Yes.
reader. I've been doing this. I've been reading cards since I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
I've been talking to spirit since I was a young kid. So I know my spirits are never going to lead me wrong. And it's just something about him, that I trusted. I don't trust a lot of people,
Yeah.
and I really don't. I don't. But it was just something about him. And then the more I've studied and the more I'm growing, I got a long, long way to go.
Yeah.
But the more I'm growing, the more comfortable I'm getting. And I see that this is what I was truly supposed to be doing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah.
everything I know and have learned up to this point was getting me ready for this.
Yes.
Or that's how I feel.
Yes.
Oh, I will tell you, Mama. When I actually looked into 21 divisions, and Freeman, just to let you know, that's what tradition we're talking about is the Dominican voodoo, the 21 divisions, is that you looked at the different spirits that you work with. I mean, us knowing you for a while now, we know, there's certain spirits that you've worked with that overlap in there. And I was just like, this is too much. This is too much similar. She's supposed to be in there. There's a,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like I gave I and I can't speak for other folks, but it's
Right.
not like I gave anything up. It's like a blessing was given to me.
Yeah.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Papa Hector is so, he's a no bullshit kind of guy.
Yes.
Either you got it, and that's what I love about him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Either you got it or you don't got it. And if you don't got it, he's going to tell you you don't got it.
Exactly.
You know
This
where
is
you
not
stand.
for you, and you're not going to do this. But if this is for you, I'm going to teach you how to do this.
Exactly. Yes.
And that's what I love about him. He never once tried to push me, even though he knew. He let me get there in my own time. And even during all my studies and everything, I really wasn't sure that I was going to be initiated. I was like, and I talked to my daughter about it, and I was like, well, what if I do all this and then I decide not to get initiated? She was like, well, Mama, then you haven't really lost anything. You've gained knowledge that you didn't have before.
Yeah.
But like everything else, spirit will push you to do what they want you to do.
Yes,
You're gonna do it one way or another, and I truly believe that. And so just certain little things happened, and then I was like, you know, I'm gonna be initiated. Then that damn hurricane, you know. And honestly, spirit did not lie. We left and went to my son's. There was just a little wind here, and one of my husband's friends said just enough rain to settle the dust. That's all.
Yep.
That's it.
Mama, we do have a couple of questions that have
Okay.
popped up. The first one is from Cameron Taylor. Mama, can you give us a rundown on your everyday routine or a day in the life of, a day for you?
Oh yeah. Oh, I can. I
That's a
usually
great
get
question.
up early. Since my initiation, I get up really early. I don't know why, but I do. I usually like to sleep till around 9 o'clock because I have a lot of readings and stuff at night, and so I'm usually going to bed late. But I get up, um, brush my teeth, do my face and stuff. Well, sometimes I brush my hair. Sometimes I just leave this braid just going in a kind of way, and make my coffee, and then I come outside and I say my prayers and stuff. I feed my chickens, feed my little rooster, sit out there with the dogs, talk to the roosters and stuff, and then I come into the prayer house. And I'll do my prayers out here, and then prayers for any type of work that I have. Um, and then I'm usually making products or seeing clients because I do have in-house clients, people that live here, come here. Um, and so it just depends on what I have going on during the day. I'm usually here all day long. Uh, I haven't been making my candles, but I'm fixing to start making my candles again, for years and years.
Yep. Yep.
I made my own candles. And so I feel drawn to do that again to make the candles that I work with for my clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to start doing that. I make stuff for Conjure New Orleans for our store. I make stuff for the website. Dollies is my big thing. Um, and so I usually have a dolly or two in the making. And then in the afternoons, I'll sit outside and wait for my husband to get home. And in between that time, I've said my prayers over whatever work I've got going on or whatever I've got going on. Um, and then once he gets in the house, we hang out for a little bit. Then he goes in the living room. I finish his dinner. He comes and eats. We visit a little while longer. He goes in the living room, and I either come out to the prayer house or I'll just sit in the kitchen and write or work on whatever I'm working on. And that's usually my day, and that's usually it every day, all day long.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
There's not a time that conjure work is not in my life during the day. There's not one day that goes by in my life that I don't do something that deals with this work because it's my whole life. That's what I do. That's who I am. So that's just what I do. And I'll have people call me that need help, and I'll go help because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to take care of my community,
Yes.
And so I do. So I have full days. I don't get to lounge around. I wish I could. But then whenever I have a day when I could lounge around, I had a million things that I want to do or I need to do. And so, no, I don't get to do that.
What do they say? Idle hands are the devil's work.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The next question is Candy going, do you have to be a Christian to practice conjure?
Okay, this is what I'm going to say about this. This has been something that's been going on since conjure work came out on the internet. Okay? I'm going to explain this the best way I can. And if I sound rude, I don't mean to be rude. I'm just very blunt And this work is my whole life. And so I don't like all the mixing and moxing that goes on. And so I'm going to say this. When the ancestors came over here from Africa, and I've wrote about this, but I'm just going to put it out here and just be blunt. When the ancestors came over here from Africa, I do not believe that the majority of them were Christians. So, with that being said, once they were here, they were not allowed to live their life. They were not allowed to worship. They were not allowed to even speak their own languages. They was beat down, maimed, and killed, and forced into Christianity. Conjure came about through all of that. And so the ancestors were smart enough to learn to beat the drums without drums, to be able to worship without really worshiping. And the Bible was brought in to this work.
Yeah.
The ancestors by the second or third generation were all Christians. Whether we like it or not, whether we agree with it or not, it is a fact. So if you take the Christian Bible out of this work, I'm sorry, you're not doing conjure work. And I don't care who you are, who you say you are, or what you think you're doing. And then when you do that, you're disrespecting the ancestors that died, whose blood runs through this land and whose bones are buried here. You're disrespecting them.
Yeah.
And that's all I got to say about that.
You gave me cold chills, Mama. Seriously. And it's the truth. I mean, I'm a practitioner and I've been doing this. I've practiced witchcraft. I'm initiated into witchcraft tradition, but my witchcraft is different than conjure. It's always been different than conjure. And that's one of the things that you taught me when I took your course. I mean, it was so important.
You know, Amanda, and I understand the thing about Christianity. Hell, I don't go to church.
Yeah.
I probably pray more than any preacher prays in this prayer house right here. Yeah. And I understand all that. But if the ancestors suffered and they died, why would you disrespect them? The Bible is just a book, just a book. And when you're saying that Isaiah 41 or Jeremiah 3 or whatever, you're pulling from all those ancestors that prayed them same prayers. Yeah. You got all that power coming down. Why would you water that crap down? Why would you water it down? Why would you whitewash it? Exactly. Why would you mix and mox it? Why would you do that? I'm going to tell you why. Because people nowadays think that they are free and can do whatever they want to do. Yeah. And what they don't know, they make up. And that's a fact.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see, this initiation has done more for me because before, where I might zip it,
not no more.
There's no holding back now.
Opened up now.
Yeah.
No, you know, some of my old students that have been with me for 20 years are like, Mama, you need to get back the way you used to be. You're too calm. You let people walk all over you. You let people do too much. Well, get noticed, baby. Doing too much is over now. It's done. Over and done with.
Well, and I know for me, even though, you know, I may not have always, I grew up Christian. I mean, my family was Christian. So for me, it was another way for me to honor not just the ancestors of Conjure, but it was a way to connect and honor my own ancestors.
You tell
You
the
know,
truth.
baby, the thing that folks don't understand is churches are man-made.
They are.
Men make those rules. Men make those rules. I don't go to church because I'm just gonna say I don't go. I'm not even gonna say. I'm just gonna say I just don't go. I would much rather come out here to the prayer house, talk to my ancestors,
Yes.
talk to the spirits that walk with me, read the Old Testament, and I'm good.
Yes.
I do it in the morning. I do it at usually around noon, and I do it at nighttime after the sun goes down because that's what I was taught to do.
Yep.
Bring the blessings in when the sun's coming up, hold them there when the sun's high, and take away whatever's not good for you in the afternoon when the sun is going down. That's how I was raised. That's what I do.
Beautiful.
You don't have to be a Christian. And to answer that question, you don't have to be a Christian to do conjure work. But what you do need to realize is, like I said, no, the Bible didn't come over here from the homeland.
Yeah.
It did not with the ancestors, but it was beat into them. And they bled and they lost their lives. So if they suffered like that, I am not going to dishonor them and take that Bible out of this work. I'm not going to do it.
No.
Anybody else can do whatever they want to do. I don't care, but I'm not. Starr Casas is not going to do it.
No.
See, and I like Cameron followed up with this, and she said, thank you, first off. She says, I'm a pagan witch, but I wanted to make sure it was okay for them to practice. Said, I even went and bought a Bible so I can practice conjure.
Good. And you know, that Bible is powerful. And I ain't never really worried about what folks do. I don't care. You know, some of my best friends are witches. I don't care how you worship. That's your business, because nobody gonna tell me how I can worship or what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to do this work, then be respectable with it.
Yeah.
Work with the Bible. Learn about the ancestors. Learn about that is the foundation of this work. If you remove the suffering and the heartache and the death and all that out of this work because you're too sensitive, then this work is not for you. Because you have to honor them. They went through things that we can't even imagine.
No.
I don't even want to. So first off, if you're going to do this work, then you have to honor them and you have to uplift them, because without them, there would be no conjure work.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
There would be no money-making machine like this thing has, like it has become.
Now, talking about money-making machines, where can I get a pair of those earrings at?
Aren't these fabulous?
I love them. Honestly,
I ordered these from a lady offline. They are fabulous. You know, and y'all, my kids, you know, I teach like begets like. If you want to be prosperous, you have to think prosperous. If you want to be fabulous in your life, then you have to think fabulous.
Yes.
And I'm a Leo, so any kind of bling, you know, I'm on that. I'm on.
Yeah.
2 Leos right here.
Yep.
Yep.
I gotta have my bling.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We also have another question from Cameron Tyler again. Do you have a favorite road openers work or? Yeah.
I do a lot of road opening work. I don't know that I have a favorite. I do believe that if you're going to do road opening work, then you need to be by the door. You need to be by the road, so to say.
Yes.
And I used to work with St. Peter for road opening work, but my St. Peter's head got knocked off. Yeah,
Oh no.
I know it's horrible,
Mhm.
but so now I just petition the ancestors. That's what I've started working with. Is my ancestors to open the roads, because one thing that we need to understand, y'all, all seriousness, that our ancestors are there for us, and in conjure work, they are a big deal. And when you need something, you should be able to petition them uh, to come to your aid. So, any road opening work that you need to do, I would literally go to the road. And I'm being serious, I'm not being crazy. My house sits on a crossroads. Go there, say your prayer. You can even bury your petition on the corner of the crossroads. Um, and make sure that you leave a gift there and some drink, something for the spirit to drink.
Okay.
You know, the first crossroads work that I ever did, and I've wrote about this, and this is the honest to God truth. Um, when I decided that I did it right out here in front of my house. When I decided that I was going to write books, as y'all know, I've got a lot to say. You know, I wrote a lot of books. I got a lot to say. I still got a lot more to say. Anyway, I had read a lot of not magical books, but books.
Mhm.
Um, and the one thing that I always noticed was that most of the authors go the long way around. I like to read a lot of history books, older
Yeah.
books,
Mhm.
and they just drag that out. And you know, sometimes it's hard to understand what they're talking about, and I'd have to go back and read a few times. And so then I decided one night, my little boy was probably about 16 years old. He's going to be 34 his birthday. That's how long ago this has been. And I decided, well, you know, you hear about the crossroads, and I grew up with stories about the crossroads, you know, and the spirit in the crossroads. And then you get online, you know, and now it's the devil in the crossroads. And, you know, I was like, I'm going to take a chance. So I got me a pen and a pad, and I went outside right here in front of my house at the crossroads. And I remember that night clear as day. It was still, nothing was moving. It was like really eerie kind of. And I stood out there with my pad and pen in my hand, and I was like, I want to be a writer. And I don't just want to be a writer, I want to be a writer where folks understand what I'm talking about, because I want to write about this work. When I finally came to myself, I just had pages and pages and pages of writings.
Wow.
And I still have them there upstairs. And so then it started. I planted that seed in my mind that I was going to write a book. And the money book was the first book that I wrote. I want to test the waters with that. But once I did that work, I couldn't get it off my mind that I planted that seed. I needed to write that book.
Mhm.
I've been writing books ever since.
That's awesome.
So that work does work. I didn't see the devil. I didn't see nothing like that. Um, the wind did kind of start blowing. That's what brought me out of myself. Um, and I had to go pick my baby up from work because he worked down the street. And at the stop sign down the road, there was this big old black dog just sitting on the corner of that stop sign, just looking at me. And so I was kind of looking at him too, you know. And so then I just drove by and went and got my baby. And when I came back, the dog was gone. And when things happen major in your life, you remember them. You
Yes.
don't forget them because it's like that memory marks you, be it good, bad, or whatever. It
Mhm.
just marks you. So I probably won't ever forget that, ever.
No, but that's such a good memory, to be honest.
Isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah.
And look at everything that I've been blessed with since I did that. Book
Yeah.
after book after book. And I took that chance and did it. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I never felt the need to, but it was like I wanted to be sure. I don't want to waste my time writing books
Yeah.
that are no good. And I didn't want folks to waste their money buying a book and then saying, oh, this is some bullshit right here.
Yeah.
I am a Leo and I am kind of, a little, I want whatever I do to be done right, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
And so that's how I started writing books. And it was all from a road opening crossroads work. And
Awesome.
that's the truth.
Speaking of books, there's a book that I got in my hand right here that actually I'm going to be reading and, working on reading this one.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got the book, baby. I got the cards.
Oh, looky there. Looky there.
Awesome.
Yes.
They're on my table, on my reading table in the prayer house.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that book, I wanted that book to be special. And I tried to write about everything that I've been taught all these years that has anything to do with the sight or divination or understanding, because not everybody can do everything.
Yep.
Like tarot cards. I've said this over and over, and I think I said it over in that book. I would love to read tarot cards, but I finally gave up. That's not for me. That's not for me. I finally realized I bought decks after decks. There's decks everywhere here. I can't. I got to read my playing cards, and now I work with the cards that are in that book.
Yes.
And of course, my bones. I got to have my bones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've only read Bones a little bit. Like, I've tested it. I would say I test the waters. I have not fully delved in. So when he ordered the book, and actually I think I ordered it for, Christmas, or no, it was a gift. It was something. But I was like, you need this book because he needs to start.
Really reading the bones is probably the most natural way of reading, because you are literally reading from your spirit, from your ancestors,
Yeah.
from the spirits. And it seems complicated, but the way I read the old way. The old way. And so you don't have more bones that can fit in your hand. You say your prayers before the reading. I always let my clients blow over the bones so that the bones pick strictly up from them, and then I'll cleanse them afterwards. And then you throw those bones, and for me, it's natural because I just know. I can read better with the bones than I can with the cards. And I get just as much from the bones as I do with the cards. And then if I throw the bones and then lay the cards over on top of them, I have found that it gives even a deeper message,
Mm-hmm. We do have another question. Joanne asked, as a beginner, what do you recommend to start with first as when it comes to studying?
With conjure work?
Yeah.
The first place that anybody who knows nothing and is beginning from fresh is to learn as much as you can about the ancestors in order to care about this work and in order to really be empowered by this work. You have to uplift the folks who came before. You have to uplift the folks that this work truly belongs to. It belongs to those ancestors. And I know I piss people off when I say that, but it's the truth. I didn't bleed and suffer for this work. I didn't do none of that. I didn't go without food. I wasn't beat bloody, hung from a tree. I didn't have none of that stuff done to me.
Yeah.
But yet I benefit from this work. And you know, there have been folks that have called me racist against white people, which I think is just absolutely crazy because they don't want to hear the truth about where this work comes from. They don't like my stance on honoring those ancestors of this work. You know,
Yeah.
they just want to come in and grab ass whatever they want and just benefit from that, but they don't care about the folks that suffered for this work to live on. You
I'm
know?
just selfless, promote it. Get this damn book.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
this book.
Yeah.
This book will teach you about the ancestors of Conjure, some of the most important people you should ever know about. That you know,
if you're going to do this work, you have to know the culture. You have to know the folks that this work came from. If you don't understand that and you don't understand the culture, then you have no business doing this work.
Nope.
You don't.
And see, I like what Yvette says right there. She goes, I sold several of Mama Starr's books today.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Yvette.
Hey, Yvette.
Hey, Yvette. That's our Yvette White.
Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, Mama, I remember, you know, when we were going, and part of the thing that you made us actually do was that we need to actually learn about and study about the ancestors of Conjure. And I'm going to tell you, for me, it was just totally amazing to hear about, because I'm just going to put it, I learned about Gullah Jack, and when, you know, learning about that, we were going to the graveyard, paying our respects to our own ancestors. And I swear to you, I looked over and there was a tombstone over there that said Jack Pritchard. And I said, okay, yeah, you're definitely the one that's calling to me.
Yep.
You know, and I'm being honest. You know, I'm being honest. Folks nowadays have no respect. They don't respect themselves. They don't respect their elders. They don't respect their own parents. They have no respect, and this work has no place for that. You have to be respectful. I am 20 something years Papa Hector's elder, yet I show him the utmost respect because for me, I'm like a child when it comes to him because he's my elder. He is my elder. Folks nowadays don't understand that. They don't understand that. Age has nothing to do with respect or being an elder. You see?
Yeah.
But if you can't respect your elders and you can't honor the ancestors and you can't honor the culture, then what are you doing here? Why do you even want to do this work? Why? What is it about it that you feel the necessity to even start?
Yeah.
You know?
Very true.
You know, it's crazy, Mama, because I think so many are out there just blindly looking just for anything, and they just want something that they can grab hold to. But they have to understand that these are things that you have to respect the ancestors. You have to know where this comes from. You can't just pick and choose when it comes to this. You know.
Growing up, and I'm not even ashamed to say this, uh, because I wrote about it and I've said it. My mama was strange. Like, she was strange. My friends' mamas, they didn't mess with my mother. They just didn't. She didn't go have coffee or none of that. And my mama had some strange ways, but now I know what she was doing, right? We weren't allowed to walk in the house with our shoes on. You took your shoes off at the door. My mama immediately picked them up with a rag, wiped them off, and you went and put them in your room.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But when you have friends whose mama don't do that, they think you're odd. They think you're odd. I had very few friends. My best friend came and spent the night with me one time. And my mama praying over me at nighttime scared her away. And we've been friends since we were 12 years old, and I was 12. She's 2 years older than me. And we're still friends. But she would never come back and stay at our house again because she thought it was so weird that my mama, first of all, the beds were powdered. You ain't getting in her bed without being powdered, that bed being powdered and prayed over. And then her kids did not go to bed without her coming in our room, praying over us and kissing us goodnight. So I know for a fact that folks thought my mama was weird, but she really wasn't. She was simply practicing her culture. That's what she grew up in. That's how she raised us.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. So I had kind of not strange. I loved my mother. My mother was the best mother you could ever have. She didn't take no mess off of us. We didn't even try it.
Mm-hmm.
If she said, that's it, and you better stop, baby, you better go find somewhere to sit down and be still, But she just had funny ways. She just, and it was this work, and now I'm that old woman, Now I'm that old woman. So
that's awesome.
I don't know.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I can relate though. I can with my Gammy, my dad's mom. She was American Indian. And when I was young, they lived in Alabama. Like, as soon as my dad graduated high school, they moved back down full time to Alabama. And she had some ways. And then she'd just look at me when I was growing up and she's like, "Child, you're special." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And I'd look at her as I got older and she's like, "You just are. Just wait." And I was like, okay. So now,
one thing that really, 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 I guess I won't say that it sticks in my craw. I might even be aggravated with my mama about it a little bit.
Oh Lord!
Is that one time I asked my mama to show me something. I don't know, or to tell me something she was doing. I don't even remember what it was. And she told me that you're not old enough to know that. It's not time for you to know that. And then it wasn't very long after that until she passed. So she held on to all those secrets without giving meaning to actions. I got the actions. I didn't learn the meanings of those actions until I started getting, out and about and having teachers and, mentors. And then I was like, that's what she was doing. Oh, that's what she was doing.
Yeah.
Only one time she got caught. My mother got caught. Well, actually twice, but one time I caught her. Me and my sisters. I'm the middle girl. So my older sister was 10 years older than me, and my baby sister was 8 years younger than me. God rest her soul. They're both gone. We were sitting like in a semicircle in the kitchen. And my mama was over at the stove doing something, cooking or something. We didn't mess in her pots. If she was cooking, she cooked. And we was just sitting there, and I just happened to look up on the ice box, and I saw this white bottle. And on the bottle it said saltpeter. And I was like, and I seen some more medicine bottles, and I was like, Mama, what is saltpeter? And she goes, I ain't never gonna forget it. She turned around and she looked at me and she goes, that's your daddy's medicine. My oldest sister, she's the only one that knew what that was, bust out laughing. And my mama was like, Barbara Priscilla, stop it. And my sister was like, well, and we grown women. We are grown women sitting up in that kitchen. And my sister nudged me and she said, I'll tell you in a minute. And I was like, okay. So once mama got back to doing, she thought it was over with. Once she got back to doing what she was doing, I bent over there and my sister told me what it was. My mouth was open. My sister was like, shut your mouth. The flies are going to get in it. I was like, oh my God, who does that? So that was my introductory to saltpeter. And it's
Nice.
you know, just craziness, I tell you. And then my baby brother, God bless his heart. And I've wrote about this a few times. I was already gone from home, and my daddy was just all over the place. And so one time, my brother under me, because I have two younger ones, but the one under me, I don't even know what he was doing, following mama around, I guess. But he walked behind the house, and my mother, my mama was burying a pair of my daddy's drawers behind the house at the bedroom window. My brother, let me tell you what, my brother has never forgot that. That has marked him. He literally counts his drawers. And I'm not kidding either. I'm serious. And he was like, oh my God, and he told me, I was like, oh my God, Mama, what are you doing? Because she had the shovel. She was like, I'm burying your daddy's drawers back here to keep him at home.
Yep.
And so my brother was like, oh my God. And so then later on, he didn't tell me, then it was like a year or two later. He had brought it up and then I forgot about it. Then my mama passed, then my daddy passed, and my brother was living over there in their house and he wanted to build a room on behind the house where my daddy's bedroom window was. And so he calls me and he goes, hey, he's like, I want to build this room. He said, but what do I do with daddy's drawers? Well, I had forgot about that. I had forgot all about it. I was like, daddy's drawers? What'd you talk about? He was like, daddy's drawers are buried under that window. And it took me a minute to snap in my head what he was talking about. I was like, Bubba, I don't know. He was like, do you think you need to come and dig them up? And I was like, why do I need to come dig them up? I ain't digging that. Mama put that down. I'm not digging it up. He was like, come on, sister. I'm worried about this. I was like, okay, let me pray on it. So I prayed on it, and I was like, the next day I called him. I was like, no, just leave it there. So he built a room over the spot. How he remembered where it was at, I don't have a clue. But yeah, so my daddy's drawers is buried under that house over there between the old house and the new room.
Nice.
That's
ridiculous. Welcome to the life of a conjurer. It's ridiculous. That's crazy shit. Only us.
Oh my goodness. I love it.
That's awesome.
So, Mama, are you going to be starting up your classes again?
I am November 1st.
Awesome.
Yeah, I picked that day. November 1st is going to be the first. I need to advertise. Y'all know one of my worst things is I don't advertise enough. But it's because it's not that I don't think that you shouldn't advertise. It's that I've never advertised. Everything I've always done has been word of mouth. And that's cool around here.
Mhm.
But I forget, that if you don't put it out there,
Yeah.
folks don't know about it.
Yeah.
I forget about doing it, but I am going to advertise it again.
Good. Good. And I do highly recommend her courses. They are awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, if you're not thin skinned, it is. But if you kind of thin skinned, I don't know if that module 1 and 2 will be for you.
That
I
is
mean, I'm being honest. I'm telling
True.
y'all took it,
yeah.
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 You definitely have to have character in order to take that class.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can't do it any other way, y'all. I'm not going to. I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing to make somebody feel better. Especially if you're going to do this work. If you're going to do this work, then you got to know about the work. You got to know where the work comes from. And then if you in your 2020 mind can't fix your mind around that, or if you get your feelings hurt easily, that class is probably not for you.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
I mean, I was being honest.
Yeah.
No, you're being honest. Yeah. I think honestly, I mean, that's the thing is that's what I love about you is the honesty and the
But
bluntness.
if you get through that class, you got a strong foundation. Can't nobody never rock that foundation.
Yeah.
Can't nobody tell you nothing about the foundation that you build your work on. But there's a lot of folks don't want to hear that, And I've lost students, but I don't care. I really don't care. What I care about is this work,
Yep.
the ancestors of this work,
Yes.
and this work not get forgotten. I'm not doing this to make friends, so I don't care.
No.
No.
That's what I've loved about it with you, Mom, is that literally, it's a legacy that you leave behind. This isn't just about us at all. It's not about us. Let's just be honest. It's about the ancestors and about what they did for us to be able to do what we do. And
That's right.
that you left that impression for us that, this isn't something that is just about you. It's way bigger. You've got to continue it on because people need to know. And that's the worst thing is when history dies.
Well, it is what it is, and whenever I wrote the old style Conjure book, I didn't sugarcoat nothing in that book. And I meant every word that I said. My mama and my granddaddy couldn't be out. They had to hide behind in the shadows, be something they really weren't. I'll be damned if as long as I'm alive, they gonna be in the shadows. Ain't nothing in the shadows. Nothing. Nothing's in the shadows. If you want to do this work, then you got to honor the ancestors that died. If you can't do that, then don't get in it because then you're not doing this work. You're doing something else that you done mixed and moxed and made up, and whitewashed. And when I say whitewash, I am not talking about white people. Let me make that clear because I had somebody that took one of my, she didn't last long, bless her heart, but she started out on module 1 and I said something about being whitewashed. And she was like, so what does that mean? That we're trying to make everything white? No, that's not what that means. Back in the old day, whenever I was growing up, folks whitewashed their houses. And the way you do that is you take white paint and you mix it with water. And what happened? It weakens the paint. It turns it into a white wash. It has absolutely nothing to do with nobody's skin color at all.
Some of the old stuff that we have that's been basically forgotten, like whitewash, it's one of those things that just, it's really sad.
Well, I grew up with all that. So, I don't know. It's just, I'm old, y'all. I don't know what to say. I just grew up with all of that. You know, and I grew up with my mama and my grandmama and them doing all this weird stuff. And so growing up, I just thought it was weird. I really didn't realize that it was something other than the way we lived until I got online and somebody put a name to it.
Mm-hmm.
You see? And then I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh man, that reminds me of the post hammer. You remember that meme I showed you, babe, where they had the guy? There was a youngster. He had the post hammer, you know, and you drive him down with the driver like that with the two handles. This kid was taking it and he was hitting it like this with the damn.
I don't know, y'all. Sometimes I think that I'm blessed, and then sometimes I think that I got a load that I really don't want to carry, but I got to.
Amen.
You know?
Yes.
Somebody's got to do it.
There's our big baby.
Yes.
Because if the work is not taught, the true work. I'm not talking about all this other stuff. I'm talking about the true work. How this work got here. The causes and effects. If it's not talked about, then in 20 years, this work is going to be nothing. Yeah. The ancestors ain't even going to be a thought in nobody's head. They're not even going to think about it. You know, and I remember when I wrote that Working with the Ancestor book, I wrote that book for a purpose. I wrote that book because I ain't seen nobody honoring their ancestors.
Yeah.
I ain't seen nobody talk about no ancestors.
Yeah.
I ain't seen nobody talk about the ancestors of this work. I ain't seen none of that.
Yeah.
Now everybody, and I'm grateful for it, you know. But before that, I ain't seen none of that. You know, I'm being honest.
No.
I said whenever I got on here, I was just gonna say whatever I thought needed to be said.
Hey, we wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah, you're doing exactly what you need to be doing. So yeah.
Well, I do kind of like tone myself down some.
You know, Mama, one thing I haven't seen in a long time that, you know, you used to see a lot of people do, and then I don't know if you've ever talked about this or not, but you remember the old red paint on the quarters that they used to do?
Yeah.
You don't see those anymore.
No. A lot of the old stuff is like just fading away. Mm-hmm. And so if we don't keep it fresh, that's why I write books, you know, and some folks have criticized me. They say I put too much in my books. Well, if I don't put it in there, my children are not going to get online and do none of this. I can tell you that right now. They can all do work. My grandkids, they're not going to do none of this. So then when I'm gone, what happens to all the knowledge? Y'all not going to be coming here talking to my kids about it because they're not going to mess with folks they don't know. That's the way they was raised.
Yeah.
They're not going to offer family information because that's the way they were raised. That's the culture, you know. So if I tell too much, it's because it's important for me that this work live on and that folks not forget. Folks tend to forget. You see, they get comfortable. And so when they bringing in that dollar bill and they making all that cash off of this work, they're not studying them ancestors. There's not a day that goes by that I don't honor the ancestors. It's a habit. It's what I do. It's what I've done my whole life. Mm-hmm. Not a day that I don't thank them. And I'm grateful. Yeah. And I'm grateful for the knowledge that I grew up with. And I'm grateful for the knowledge that my elders have shared with me. And I just want to keep it alive. It's not for me because I don't care. I know what I know. I could never teach another class or write another book, but I'm going to always know what I'm going to know.
Yeah.
But then what's going to happen to the work, to the real work, to the real thing? What's going to happen to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to the ancestors. History has a tendency to sugarcoat shit,
Yeah.
I grew up on stories of the ancestors being brought from the continent. I grew up on all that. That's how I know all this stuff because I grew up on it. My mama made sure that we know exactly what was going on. And I've never forgotten. It's always stuck with me. How else would I know it?
Mm-hmm.
God knows it ain't wrote down in no history book nowhere.
No.
I was just going to say, you don't learn the real history at school.
No. And I ain't everybody's cup of tea. And you know what? I don't want to be everybody's cup of tea. I really don't. I like who I like, and the rest I don't even worry about them. They don't even pass through my thought process. Out of sight, out of mind. I don't care. But I like who I like. I have my people that I like. The rest I don't care what they think of me. It doesn't matter. It's what my mama, my granddaddy, and the ancestors of this work think of me. Huh?
Yeah.
That's all that
Because
matters.
one day it's them that I'm going to come before.
Yep. Yes. Thank you,
Lori Todora, I was talking about painting quarters red. You don't see those anymore these days.
No. You don't see whitewash no more either.
No.
And the folks did that because to make the paint stretch.
Yep.
It's like putting them oats in that meatloaf.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to make it stretch. Folks had to do whatever they could do. Times were hard. Times are still hard, But I think that folks, and Mambo Sandy's always, when she does her live, she always shares all this information about gardening and all that stuff. And she's right about that, If you can't take care of yourself, there may come one day whenever you have to live like our ancestors lived.
Yeah.
Better to get practice when you don't need it than to try to practice when you do need it. Right?
Absolutely.
That's why we teach our kids, I come from a family and Amanda comes from a family of farmers, that we teach them how to farm because they need to know, because you never know what could happen one day. You may have to live off the land again.
Yeah.
That's right. And you got to know what to do. You got to know how to do it. You got to know what plants you can digest and which ones you can't,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Then it's fun seeing a 5, 6, and 7-year-old running around. We got tomatoes.
That's what my daughter-in-laws, both of them, know how to garden. But my youngest daughter-in-law, the twins' mama, they gardened this year, and they did it in containers so the babies could help. So she's starting them out young. And that's what I love about her. She makes sure they eat good vegetables and all this stuff, and she's teaching them where it comes from.
Yes.
You need to know that nowadays.
You do.
My mama always had a garden, and chickens and eggs and all that. We always had all that stuff.
Yeah.
I swear we ought to get us a hen and have the neighbors go apeshit.
Oh, Lord. They wouldn't
Y'all
know.
need y'all need a hen, but a hen's gonna bring a rooster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
when Houdini was here when he was a small rooster, I got him for doing a job for somebody.
Yeah.
And Houdini was here by himself for a while, not too long, but a while. And then all of a sudden, this white hen came in. There's a trailer house behind the prayer house that's high. She literally flew on that trailer house, flew over that 6-foot fence, and got over here in the yard with him. She's been here ever since.
I love it.
Now he's gone. She's still here. So yeah, you get a hen, you're gonna bring a rooster. Or you get a rooster, it's gonna bring a hen. They're gonna come from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah. Once we get into a house, I think that's my next goal is to get a chicken. At least
You know,
one.
roosters are really good at showing the signs. You know, back in the old days, that's why they were kept. You know,
Mhm.
my grandma every once in a while would let her chickens run through the house. Most of the time, she kept them in the cages, but they were allowed to get out, and she'd let
Mhm.
them run through the house. So I thought that was the craziest shit I had ever seen in my life. But now I know that roosters and hens scratch and peck, so they're literally cleaning up messes.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So they're really good to have around the house. When Houdini was alive and stuff wasn't right over here, he would get on top of the roof of the house and he'd scratch and peck and he'd work for hours. Then I guess whenever it felt right, he got right up on the top of the house and he would just crow and crow. And I remember one time he did that, and I got the picture somewhere. Two doves came and sat on top of the house. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, son, you felt some shit that I didn't even realize was going on yet.
Uh-huh.
It cleaned it up. And so in came the doves to bring peace.
That's awesome.
So animals are really good. You know, they have a spiritual job to do, and they know that. You ain't got to teach them. They know that.
Yes. Yes.
You know, Mama, not my great, good Lord, my grandfather, he was a mess. He would go around, and he owned a commercial sewer company, but he would go around, and when he'd come home from bars and all that, he would pick up a road animal. Oh, I don't know how he attracted the hell of it, but he would have possums. He would have, you name it. He had a damn hedgehog one time that he had found on the side of the road and brought it home, nursed it back, and let it go.
Yep, let it go. My mama used to do that, and my baby brother
Yeah.
he would bring animals, and my mama would tend to them and then let them go. And you know, I have a baby possum over here. It
They,
comes and eats at nighttime. I'll
Oh.
sit out on the breezeway and I can hear it chomping the chicken's food. And it comes out there and it makes this funny little sound, and so I'll make a sound back to it.
Yep.
Chuck heard me one night and he came up there and he goes, "What the hell are you doing?" I said, "I'm talking to that possum." He said, you are absolutely crazy. And I said, "Listen." But then I guess it got under the prayer house because I didn't hear it no more that night. Yeah.
We've had possums here, and we've had all kinds of animals here. I was surprised, but yeah.
God, that possum scared the hell out of me. It literally was under the grill. It went and gathered our dog's food, and he was going. I didn't even see him, and I was grilling. Next thing I know, he climbed the damn fence right like this close.
Oh yeah, they can climb. They can run too, and they will chase you.
Yeah,
They surely will.
yeah.
Yes.
I was just like, my
But
God.
they're good luck. You know, they're good luck. I have a little toad frog that lives on the breezeway. It's been there for a little over a year now.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't let the dogs mess with it. And Geronimo was like, "That's a toad frog." I said, "Leave that frog alone. He lives in that fern. Leave him alone." And he'll come out and walk around because they're good luck, you know?
Yeah.
And he'll walk around and then he goes right back in that fern, and that's where he stays at.
Wow.
There's some lizards too. A couple of little lizards. But those are all conjure items. Items. You don't never know when you might need that, you know?
True. That is very true.
Hey, there's nothing better, baby. Remember that time that damn bat flew in the house and my dad was chasing around? It sounded like a damn elephant chasing around. We were in the other room and literally you just hear boom, boom, boom. And I was like, what in the hell is he doing in there? I go in there, there's a bat flying around. He's got his net trying to catch this damn
Oh
bat.
my God. I have a bat in a jar that somebody gave me. Bats are good for working with for seeing things in the dark. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I could see
I
that.
have it in salt.
Well, like today we saw a vulture and then we saw a hawk, like shortly, like within 2 minutes of each other. And we were talking about everything, some things that we're working on. And I was like, okay. And as soon as I acknowledged, I was just like, it left. And I was like, thank you.
Yep. You know, buzzards are very, very good. You know, that's a good sign. Especially when you're doing certain types of work. It's good to know because they eat shit up, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
to the bone. They'll just yeah.
That is a good. Jed Brown actually just asked if there will be a masterclass, a cult masterclass on animal juju, like working with the spirit animals. Yeah.
There you go. I like it.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, conjure work, and a lot of modern folks don't understand this, but conjure work is actually more than doing what folks call spell work. You know, conjure work is being able to read the signs. It's being able to understand the animals. It's being able to understand what animal does what animal will help you do what.
Yes.
You know, what they mean, you know. And that's being lost. Folks they don't understand that in this modern world today. If you're going to do conjure work, you have to get out of the 2020 mindset and you have to go way back to when they had outhouses and water wells and dirt roads and dirt yards.
Yes.
Then you'll understand how important, like, say, the broom was back then. The broom was a really big deal. You know, my grandmother, I learned to sweep the yard because my grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you what, that was a hard lesson for me to learn because I could not understand. Because you have to understand, my mama did everything for us. We didn't wash dishes. Because my mama had a certain way she wanted everything done. What she was doing was cleansing everything. I didn't know that then. I just thought, oh, hell, she's spoiling us. You know, we ain't got to do none of that. No, that's not what it was at all. But anyway, my grandma, you had to sweep her yard. Well, you had to start from the back. Listen to me close. From the back, come all the way to the front to the road. You didn't go back and forth like this. I got popped a few times. I couldn't understand. You sweep in a long sweep. Now I know that she was sweeping the yard for tricks that could have been dropped in the yard. And if you sweep back and forth, you are doing nothing but stirring up any mess that was thrown there and putting it out further. We had to sweep it. She had some pine trees, so we had to sweep everything up to the ditch, and then she burnt it. Because why? Fire kills the work. You see? So everything they did for a purpose. You see? And that's lost nowadays. There's no dirt yards nowadays. Everything's either grass or concrete or roads everywhere. You see? But back in the day, that's not how it was. So it was easy to drop a trick. Just walk up to somebody's house visiting and drop a trick in the yard. They would never see it because it would blend in with the dirt and stuff that was already in the yard. You see, all that knowledge is being lost. People nowadays don't really have a clue what conjure work really is. They just don't. They
Mhm.
know the modernized conjure, not the conjure that I grew up with. They don't know, and I don't really teach that because folks don't understand it. They already think that I'm harsh. You know,
No, it
it
what
is
you do is
whatever it
you
is.
teach the
So
truth.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, yeah. The truth will set you free.
Yes, it is.
That's what the old folks say.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I mean, it's a way of life, and that's how they were. I mean, down. I mean, I know that's how it was with my family. It's like everything had a reason, everything had a purpose. You did everything, and you followed the orders. If you didn't understand it, sometimes I would get popped because I was that child that would go, "Why? Why do you have to do this?" you
Yeah,
know.
no, we didn't ask why. My mom would just say because I told you to.
Hmm.
But like, let me see. Like, whenever kids used to play with the broom, play horses with the broom, we were
Yeah.
never allowed to do that. You did not play with my mama's broom. She would tell you that is not a toy. You do not play with that broom. We really didn't even touch it. And I think back about all this stuff. And my mama was pretty weird. She really was. She had set ways,
Hmm.
but there's a madness behind that, a reasoning behind that madness.
Hmm.
Um, but just ordinary stuff that we nowadays no longer do, like starching and ironing clothes.
Yeah.
You do know that anytime my mama starts and iron our clothes, those clothes were tricked. I learned that from my auntie
Wow.
who sewed and made clothes. And so when she would sew clothes for people, she would iron them, and she had a special spray bottle. And she used to she taught me how to iron because my mama sure didn't. And she was like, "This the prayer bottle," and I'm like, "Prayer bottle? Prayer bottle? It has prayers in it. It keeps the people coming back."
Wow.
And so she would mix a little bit of dried starch and I don't know what else. And that's what she sprayed the clothes down with to iron.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes complete sense. But yeah.
Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does.
Wow.
Yeah. Either a spray bottle in the 70s, we came out with the spray bottles, but before that, she had that little shaker thing
Hmm.
with that little hole in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. That.
Yeah. I mean, but that's an everyday life thing. She did that every day. Every piece of clothes she ironed
Yeah.
was prayed over. And if it was sewn for somebody, then it was prayed over where they would come back, be a repeat customer, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
All that's being lost. And sometimes I'll sit around and I'll think about all that stuff and I'm like, that don't even fit in with the times now, but it is true conjure work.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a true conjure worker, then you need to learn the old ways.
Yeah.
You need to learn the foundation of this work.
My grandma used to Vera actually used to sew. When I would hear her say something, I wasn't ever sure what she was talking about. But I feel like later on that she was actually sewing things up for protection from when we,
Oh,
passed.
she probably was praying over every stitch because that's what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every stitch you make is supposed to have a prayer set over it. That's
Mhm.
why my dollies work so well.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah. Yeah, because every stitch that's made is prayed over for
Yeah.
whatever condition or for whoever that dolly is made for. Every stitch. Yeah, that's why they work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the
Makes sense.
prayers. Yeah, it's the prayers that go into it. And folks will be like, what is the secret of these dolls? And I have folks that bought dolls from me 10 years ago that still got them dolls,
That's
and it kind of shocks me sometimes, but then I'm like, oh, it's the prayers holding it all together, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Did your mama? Did she used to use the old cast iron? Did she used to heat up the iron like that?
I have her iron in my house.
That's
It's
awesome.
in my washroom setting up on the,
Shelf.
yeah. Yeah, I have her iron. I have a lot of her cast iron pots. I have her wash tub is outside. It was hanging on the prayer house until the hurricane knocked it off, and I've never put it back up there. Uh, yeah, I have a lot of my mama's stuff like that. Her wooden spoons. I have all that, and y'all know. You need to know this, that every time you use something that one of your ancestors uh used in your cooking or whatever, you're pulling them into that kitchen whenever you're cooking. They're going to go where their things are, you know? They're
Yeah.
going to come to their stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually have these little coasters that are owl coasters that you would put like for hot plates.
Oh, they were those little owl trivets.
Yeah. My mantle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and every time I cook or bake, she's there. She
Yeah.
loves
I truly believe that. I believe that that's true.
it. Mm-hmm.
That my brother has my mama's big old wooden bread thing.
Yes.
Looks like a boat.
Yes.
It's a big
Yes.
old thing that she used to make bread in, because my mama made fresh biscuits every day unless we had seafood or spaghetti or soup. Other than that, we had fresh biscuits every day of my life.
Wow.
My mama made them every afternoon right before it was time for my daddy to get home from work. They were hot. We sat down at the table, and we all sat at the table and ate. And every day we had fresh biscuits.
Nice.
Yeah. And she would pray into that dough. And I know that for a fact because I used to sit at the kitchen table and watch her.
Mm-hmm. Yep. My
And
mama.
if there was things going on in the house, if my daddy was cutting up, we never heard them argue or nothing. But if my daddy was cutting up, I always knew, because mama beat the hell out of that biscuit dough. And she'd make that tear, I could see her tear that off, and I'm like, ooh, something's going on in the background. And any other time she was just calm. But you learn all these things because you watch,
Yeah.
Yep. See, that's where people don't realize that the real learning is when you just sit there, shut up, and watch what the hell's going on.
That's how all my kids have learned. That's how my grandkids learn. I got grandkids that could be some powerful workers, powerful, but they only work for themselves. They only come here when they need something. And when life gets tough, this is where they come to the prayer house, because they know that they've been raised to know that when you need help, you go to your ancestors for help.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be there for you. And so they'll come here. They just say, Mama, I need a candle. Okay, you know what you're doing. I'm not going to, I don't follow them around. They get their stuff and they do whatever they're doing. And then they light their candle. And for the first 3 days, they'll come and pray over their candle. They bring offerings. I don't even have to tell them, but they've been raised in this. They know what to do. They only do it whenever they need to, though. It's out of a necessity for them. It's not something that they will ever do for a living.
Yes. Yeah.
And y'all have small children. You teach them now, and it'll become a habit to them, and they won't know that they're doing anything that's different from what anybody else does, because it's a way of life for them, you know.
Already working on that. Already
Yeah.
working.
Hmm.
They help us with the ancestor altars all the time. So, and
That's good. You know, when Queenie first started walking, she would go stand in front of the ancestor altar. She wasn't old enough to talk.
yeah,
She'd just stand there and just chatter away, just chatter away.
yeah,
And that's because they called her, you know. She's going to be a powerful worker. She's very gifted, very gifted.
See, that scares me. If one day Queenie and Cheyenne get together, it's going to be game over. Because those two are like, I'm going to tell you, Mama, if those two get together, they're going to be like peas and pods, and it's going to be terrible.
Yeah, she's something. That little girl is something else.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that's how you teach your children. You know, my mama didn't explain everything to us. I'm doing this or I'm doing that or this or that. There was just things that she did. That's just how we grew up.
yeah,
You grow up, you move out. That's how you do. That's
yeah.
how you do your family, because that's what you know. That's your culture. That's how you were raised, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 It's been funny to watch them because they're very attentive to the spirits and they already call and they're like, okay. And I'm like, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they'll help. They'll
That's
try.
how you do it. That's how you do it. You know, children are very, very gifted when they're born, and I think all children are. I think it's how your parents handle them,
Yes.
um, you know, that either shuts them down or builds them up, you know.
Yes.
It just depends on how you interact with your children, I guess.
I would agree. We just got another question. That's what I'm looking at real quick. Sometimes I wonder how close the ancestors were practicing stuff, but the knowledge was lost. Are you talking about?
I think he's talking about his own ancestors. Like,
Okay. Okay.
I think it might be a statement he was making.
Yeah, I think so too. So, sorry, Jen. Okay, here's another question. If you have a mix of Irish, African, and Native American, how do you know how to set up an ancestor altar? She said, I hope this makes sense.
Then you need to find someone to help you that can do a reading and see if you even should set it up or not. You know, it all depends. Um, for me, it was a natural thing for me to do. You know, I don't know that everybody, and that's a mixture of ancestors right there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I would say to get a reading with someone and ask for guidance. If you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. Try to do it on your own. My students have altars, but that's because they're my students. They took my classes. They know.
Yeah.
And so that would be my answer. Without knowing more or knowing, that's not just an answer that you would ask in general. If you want to honor your ancestors, then you can give them liberations of water or coffee, and maybe light them a candle in their honor. If I was going to do anything, that's where I would start at.
Thank you, Mama. She said thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, you don't want to start a world war.
Yeah.
The ancestors. You don't want the Hatfield.
No, that's a lot going on there. A whole lot.
Yeah.
Going on there.
I would agree with that. And also not every ancestor, especially a blood needs to be honored.
No,
Hell, some of them don't want to.
Yeah.
that is true. That is true.
So
Um,
go
and
ahead.
sometimes I think that they don't care one way or another. I think it depends
Mhm.
on the bloodline and the ancestors. You know, I was raised honoring our dead. You know, we used to go to the graveyard, clean the graves. You know,
Yeah.
I still do. But when I was growing up, you know, um, that's what we did. That's how I was raised. So I was raised to honor my dead and to remember them and to uplift them.
Mhm.
But you see, nowadays there tends to be some issues going on because most everybody, and I'm saying most, I'm not saying all, I'm saying most, everybody's families were Christians. Nowadays, are some Catholics or some something like that. Nowadays, we have folks who are practicing different religions. So, if your family was pure Christian and you're doing witchcraft, you wouldn't go honor them in the way that you honor your spirits.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I completely understand.
We
What?
ran into that a couple times, haven't we?
So I think that folks need to, one, know their culture, know how their past relatives have honored their ancestors, what they did.
Yeah.
If your ancestors were Christian and you're not, then they're not going to understand being honored in some other kind of way. I don't believe. They'll be like my mama and fall off the altar. And when I put my daddy up there, she acted a pure donkey. Her picture wouldn't stay up. You know, everything was just a muck on the altar. I literally had to move her off of the altar and put her by herself. So, had I not known what to do, had I not known what was going on and didn't listen to what she was, telling me, that could have been a whole big old mess.
Yeah.
Folks need to understand that just because the body is gone, the spirit is still there.
Yeah.
Whatever they were in life, that's what they are in death, only they may be a little stronger.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you really need to talk with someone, and figure out how to do it, if you should do it, or what to even do. But if you just want to honor them in general, then I would give them coffee, and maybe a little candle, in their honor, and leave it at that. But if you practice a different religion than your ancestors did, I wouldn't be mixing and moxing that, because I think that would cause a big issue.
Yeah.
And that's just me. That's just how I feel.
No, I will say, even from experience, like my mama and papa, when they passed, and I started honoring when they came to me and they're like, yes, we want to still talk to you. We want to still work with you, but we don't want to do the witchcraft. And they were very, like, my papa was more okay with it. My mama, forget it. And I was like, Bible it is. I'm like, I will respect your ways as you respect me. So that's, yes.
Hell, you remember my grandma? Well, she was Lutheran, and she was like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, my mother raised us in Pentecostal holiness, which I'm grateful, because that's where the true spirit, where you can really feel the spirit.
Yeah.
But anyway, my mother-in-law is Catholic. I don't have them on the same spot.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
You know, because my mother, when I left home and became a Catholic, she literally told me, "You're gonna burn in hell," and I was like, "Why?" You know. But then later on, she settled down. But yes, no, I don't put them together. You know,
Yeah.
they're on opposite sides of the room. My mother-in-law and father-in-law is on one side, and my ancestors are on the other side. So I don't think that you should mix and mix
Yeah.
different religions together.
No. Wow. I can't believe it's been almost 2 hours.
Oh my God.
I know. We've been having fun.
Just talking.
I was like, oh, wow. Got wrapped up in the conversation. But it's been so good talking to you, Mama. Thank you for coming on here.
Oh, yeah, I have enjoyed myself.
Yes, we have to.
Yes.
I'm so tired. I'm going to have to look for you a pair of these earrings, Amanda. You can rock these.
Oh, please, Mama. Thank you.
Ain't they fabulous?
They're
I'm
gorgeous.
going to see if I can get you some. They're fabulous.
Please.
Leo's got to be jeweled up.
We do. I need to be more glam.
Well, I think you look really good. Every time here lately I see you, you just got a little shine to you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think you look fabulous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're looking good too. When you're like, I'm old, and I'm like, you don't look it.
My old hot self. Oh my God. I told Chuck a while ago because my hair was all. I said, I need to at least fix this plaid over here before I go out there looking like a hot mess trying to do something.
You look good, Mama.
You do.
Thank you, baby. Don't make my head swell. So there's no more questions. Oh, I do want to put a shout out to my godfather, Papa Hector. If you are interested in the 21 divisions, that is the man to contact.
Yeah.
I tell you, he is a fabulous teacher. He is just, I don't know what to say. You know, I fell in the right spot. I really did. I fell where I needed to be.
If you're looking for a great godfather, I mean, he's the one. I mean, he really embraces you as his child, and you can see that, you know, when he does that, it's just there's no one else you'd rather have.
He is fabulous, and if you're looking for ancestor readings, I would go to him.
Yeah.
I don't do that type of reading per se, but I know he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is just fabulous.
He is.
And he teaches. I've learned so much in this year, and still learning. You know, I'm still taking classes because in 21 divisions, I'm like, I don't know nothing. You know, I talk to you about Conjure all day long. In 21 divisions, I'm like, let me ask Papa Hector because I don't know. But I do know that he is fabulous. He's great.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's not just because he's my godfather.
No, he's an amazing person. He really is.
He is. Yes, he is. Patience of Job. Yeah.
I would agree with that one. I would agree.
How's Toya doing? Have you heard?
I haven't talked to them since they were. I talked to Papa a week ago, maybe, or right before I went to New Orleans, but I haven't talked to Mommy. Good, I guess. I seen her posting on Facebook a couple of times.
Good, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, she's fabulous too. I love them both. My Madrina and Padrino. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If people have questions, did you want to pub yourself out, Mama? What's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
They can catch me on Facebook or they can go to my website, oldstyleconjure.com.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
And just so you guys know, yes, that is Hugon Hector that we're talking about. You can contact him on Facebook. If you go under Hugon Hector Salvas, he's on there as that. And
Yeah, and he's fabulous. And anybody that wants to know about their ancestors, that's who I would contact. Because when you have a whole mixture like that, what I saw, yeah, no, you need somebody who can, that's their specialty. You know, that's,
Yeah.
he deals with that all the time,
That's,
you know.
Yes.
And with
You know
conjure work, that's too much going on for me.
You know what, babe? Why don't we talk to Hector? Why don't we have him come on here next?
I was just thinking about that.
Yes, why don't y'all have him on there next?
Because to have your fabulous butt up on here, that's fine.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get him and Mambo Sandy. Maybe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, she's fabulous.
I love
and you know, she does all of these little videos that are so full of information and wisdom if folks would just listen to them.
Yes.
But I don't think that folks nowadays really want to hear the truth. They want everything fast and easy, and nothing's fast and easy. It's taken me my whole life to get where I'm at, and I still need more.
Yeah.
I would love to have another elder in conjure work. You know, I would love it because I have nobody to go to except for now I have Papa Hector, you know, and it's lonely when you don't have nobody that you can go to ask a question or to get uplifting advice or, you know, whatever. But you're never stop learning. When folks stop learning, then they might as well stop. If you think you know every single thing there is to know,
you're dying.
And you've ruined your whole self, because we all have so much more to learn, you know?
All the time.
Yeah.
You're always the student and the teacher. And sometimes you don't get to the teacher part. So
I like being the student. I'm not going to even lie about that. I like having a roadmap laid out, and yes, I'm taking this step and this step and this step. And I'm not even worried about getting to the end of that. I want to learn everything that I can learn. You know, I didn't get initiated to become somebody or to become well known or blah, blah. I'm already well known. I'm already there. I got initiated for my own personal reasons, for my own spirits, for my own ancestors, you know.
Yes.
Because I'm missing some stuff and I needed this. And they knew that I needed it, but because I'm stubborn, I guess it just took me time to get there, you know?
Yeah. No, I completely understand. And I agree. It's a calling. It really is. And it's work. That's why it's called spiritual work. You have to put in the effort.
I'm always going to be a conjure woman. That's what I've been my whole life. I'm always going to be that, you know? That's just who I am. That's what I am.
Yeah.
But this is more for me,
for
my own personal spirituality. And I couldn't have picked a better godfather. I just couldn't. I couldn't have.
Hey, babe, can you type in the comment? People are asking about Hector's site. I think it's greatestspell.com.
I believe. Okay.
Greatestspells.com.
Okay.
No, it's funny you mentioned that, Mama, because Amanda and I were talking. We were saying, you know, there is no Amazon Prime for conjure work.
There's not. There is not. You know, it takes a lot of work. I didn't learn all this stuff, like Pop Hector says, sitting behind a computer or reading a book. You know, you didn't pay for classes when I was coming up. You literally did manual labor. You worked. Wasn't nothing for free. You did yard work. You helped do whatever that elder was doing. And it was all told in stories. Folks nowadays who want to learn have it easy because it's written out for them. You know, when I was coming up, that's not how it was. And that's not how I teach. Y'all know that. You're going to hear a story or two, but you know what? You always, just like I remember them, you're always going to remember that because you're always going to remember that story.
Yeah.
You have to understand this conjure work is an oral tradition. Mm-hmm. It was never meant to be written about, and it really wasn't. But the internet changed all of that, and I'm kind of salty about it. I'm not going to lie. I am not even going to lie and say that I'm not, because I am kind of salty about it. Because what has happened is a misuse of everything that the ancestors went through, and it's no longer meant for protection of your home or to take care of your family or to make your life better. It's turned into a money machine. That's why I don't push my website. Y'all hardly ever see me push that website. And every once in a while, I'll think about it and I'll push it, or I'll see something and I'll be like, I need to advertise these books. And so I'll push that website. You know, that's not my goal. That's never been my goal. My goal has always been to keep this work alive. Yeah. A lot of people don't like me because of that, but I don't care. If they don't feed me or pay my bills, I don't really care. You know, it don't matter to me. I don't care.
Yeah.
When they talking about me, they letting some other poor soul rest. You know, I just give it to my spirits and let them handle it even more so now. You know, I've always done that, but even now more so, it's easier. I'm just like, I don't care. Let it go. You know, I don't want to be bothered with it. I have other things that I want to do. Mm-hmm. You know, I still have stuff I want to do. So I don't have time for all that foolishness. I say live and let live. Everybody has a right to do whatever they want to do, you know.
Fully agree.
Yeah, do whatever be whoever they want to be. You can be anybody nowadays online. It only takes a Facebook page or a website and boom, you there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Be able to talk a good talk and you got it. You can be anything.
Like, did you know, Mama, I make the best meatballs in the world?
You do?
Oh, yeah.
They are pretty good. Yeah.
Really? You're going to have to cook for me. You make good spaghetti too?
Oh, yeah. Mama, I used to work in a Southern Italian restaurant.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know that peach cobbler. I was so full that day. Oh, my. I ain't forgot about that peach cobbler neither. But
hey,
my daughter made me a killer spaghetti because my husband don't really like spaghetti. Yeah. When my little boy was here, I would cook spaghetti every once in a while for me and him, and his daddy would eat it. Mm-hmm. Well, now they cook it for me. And so that's what I wanted for my birthday. And so that's what they made me. And that day I was so full. I was like, oh my God. And there you were. I had my 2 birthday cakes and there you were with that peach cobbler. I was like, oh my God.
It was so good. I'm not gonna lie. It was so good.
It looked delicious. It really did.
Man.
It looked fabulous.
You should have heard our daughter. She was like, oh, Daddy, will you make that peach cobbler again?
We bought peaches today just for it. So
one of those meals where you hum to your food.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Yeah, that looked really, really good. Real good.
See, and that's what I love about my ancestors because, see, my grandma, my aunts, they're both home ec teachers, and they're the old school home ec teachers. But you know, they taught us there was always 7 pies or, you know, cakes or something up on the pie safe. And so I always learned how to make all that stuff from them. You learn how to make your own pie crust. You don't buy the store bought. You make your own, and then
Yep, make your own.
all that stuff. I love that about my ancestors that was passed down is that you have all these things that you learn from traditions. And then we have family friends, like I learned how to make collard greens from my Nana. And I love Nana because she came from North Carolina and she would teach me. She's like, look, this is how you do this. You cook them all day. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And see, when Robert actually became a minister with the Pentecostal church, we were there all damn day. And then that's when I got my first experience with K-Wise was when he was becoming a minister. And yeah, let's just say in the middle of July,
Hey, folks bash the Pentecostal church, but that's where I learned foot washing at as a kid.
Yeah.
That's where I learned the walls of Jericho at as a kid.
Yeah.
Can't nothing beat that Joshua 6 when you blocked and won't nothing move that block out of your way. Can't nothing beat that Joshua 6.
No.
I learned that in church. Foot washing, I learned in church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, that's where I learned foot washing at. That was when I was, when we were growing up, going through Bible school, that's where we learned it at. That's when we learned how to do our foot washing.
And all of that is missing out of conjure work now.
Really?
Because folks have their own ideas of what it should be. I'm going to stick with the old ways. And I know a lot of folks don't like it, but that's what I'm going to do. That's how it is. You ain't got to like it. And you ain't got to like me, because I don't care. But I'm not going to change. My most important, I don't care what people think or what they don't think. My most important thing is the ancestors in this world. And my mama and my granddaddy. And nothing else matters. It's doing what they couldn't,
Yeah.
And maybe you gonna tell her about when you got baptized, what you called it?
So after my Gammy had passed, my dad switched church and he's like, let's all go get baptized. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, and I was like, so it's a spiritual cleansing. And that's what the spirits have shown me. The ancestors are like spiritual cleansing, right? Yes. And I was just like, yeah, Dad, it's a spiritual cleanse. I'm all right. And he goes, no. This is a baptism. And like we fought back and forth to the point where my dad almost yanked me out of getting baptized.
Really? But it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You're washing away whatever's there that's holding you down.
Mm-hmm.
Some folks call it sin. I call it blocks and cross conditions.
Yeah.
Apples and oranges. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. And I remembered all I heard is my ancestors. They were like, just shut up. Just shut up. He thinks he knows more. And I'm like, okay, I'll back off. And I went and I got baptized. And I was like, thank you.
And I bet you felt good, huh?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. So, yeah.
Nothing can beat prayer, y'all. Nothing. And it don't matter what prayer. It don't matter what religion it is. It doesn't matter. Prayer is powerful, no matter what religion. Yes. Whether it's witchcraft prayer, I'll take any of it. I don't care. I don't care. If, because it's powerful. It is people that put all these do's and don'ts and this ain't right and this is right and you're going to go to hell. My mama, I wasn't raised with the devil. Really. No, I'm serious. My mama always said to us, and even though they preach it in church, my mom was a different kind of Christian like me,
Yeah.
The apple don't fall far from the tree. My mama always told us that people are their own devils.
Yep.
They're their own devils because we all have choices in our lives of which way we're going to go. In everything that we do, there's a choice.
Yes. Yeah.
You can either do it or not do it, or you can go this way or you can go this way. It's always up to us and the spirits that walk with us and what we trust and believe in.
Yeah.
So if you don't listen and you take the wrong road, that's not on no devil. That's on you. You did that yourself. You see? So even though we were raised Christian and in the Pentecostal church, my mama smoked. My mama cut her hair. My mama wore breeches. But our behinds was at that church house every Sunday. You're going to learn how to pray and you're going to learn to feel what spirit feels like.
Yes. Yes.
She never brainwashed us. And I don't ever remember. Everybody loved my mama in church. Nobody never said anything, out of the way. The minute she got out that church door, she lit a cigarette. I'm sorry, but she did. That's just how she was.
Yeah.
She sang her goodbyes, and that was it. Come on, let's go.
Let's go.
And before she pulled out of that parking spot, she was smoking her cigarette. But I just, and folks don't understand that not today Satan means that I'm not letting it in. It doesn't really have anything to do with the devil. It don't really have nothing to do with Satan. It's like, I'm not going to let and it's a Southern thing. I'm not going to let whatever is trying to ruin my day. Not today, Satan. Yep. Because anything that goes against you is a devil. I don't care how you look at it. It's a devil. If it's trying to hold you down, that's a devil.
Yeah.
So people just don't understand, and I don't think that modern churches nowadays are teaching like they used to back in the day when I was growing up, when I was a kid. I don't remember the preacher talking about Satan this and Satan that and all this, burning in hell. I don't remember all that,
Yeah.
Like today, that's all you hear. If you don't bow down to the preacher, then you're going to go to hell. Well, I guess I'm going to go with fire in my britches because I'm going then. Because I'm not.
That's the new God that's there. It's not the God of the Bible that they're talking about. It's the preacher that's the God now.
Yeah, I'll stick with what I know. Mm-hmm. That's why I don't go to church. My prayer house is my church.
The one thing I did always take away from growing up in the church is that how to do it ritual, as far as how they handle things. And that was the thing I took away from it, is that, you're doing the Lord's Prayer, you're doing the communion, you're doing the benediction. These things are all done on a ritual basis, and there's power in doing them consistently with that.
Because repetition is power.
Yep.
And the minute that you start those prayers, when I'm out here in the prayer house and I start my prayers, I automatically feel a shift. Mm-hmm. And it's even stronger since I've been initiated.
Oh, yeah.
But you automatically feel a shift because your spirits are used to you doing that. And so they know, hey, we fixing to get it on. So come on, let's go. And a lot of folks miss that and don't understand that because they can't go to church because people's worrying about what they're wearing or what they did the night before. Who gives a damn? You're there to hear God's word. You're not there to worry about what Sally Jane or Susie Ann is doing, And a lot of folks are missing out on that, because they don't want to go to church. They don't feel welcome there. Why would they go? I'm not going anywhere I don't feel welcome.
No. Yeah. I have to agree. I mean, that's when I left the church, was when literally I went through my divorce, and then they were all like, you didn't do it. It wasn't godly. I'm like, who the fuck are you to tell me what I can do and not do?
So you're supposed to live in misery? No,
right.
Thank you.
No.
I'm not going to be miserable for nobody. Nobody. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe that God intends for us to be miserable. Right. That's man. Man makes those rules, and that's how I don't go to church. My husband goes. He goes to a Catholic church. I'll go if something's going on, a baptism or Wedding. Well, no, because that's not true. Because I didn't even go to the last wedding. I say no. I'm not going to church. I'm not going to go sit there for 2 or 3 hours. I'll go to the reception. So no, I didn't even go for the wedding. But if it's something to do with the babies, I'll go. But most of the time, I don't. I don't feel no need to go. I don't feel no need to hobnob with all them people that I don't interact with anyway. You
Right.
know, I may know them, but I don't. We not on the same level. You know, and I don't need for nobody to pray for me. I'm fully well know how to pray. You know, and to reach out to my spirits. So then I'm good here at the prayer house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I want to gossip, I'll go to the barber shop.
Yeah.
That is a good point.
Hey, we better cut this damn thing off because we're at 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh,
and
y'all, I got to take my shower. I forgot how tired I am. Oh, my husband's probably like, what in the world is she doing? Spending the night in the prayer house or what? She just got home.
Mama, thank you for joining us tonight. And everyone, thank you.
Y'all. I have fun, but you know, talking mess is one of my favorite things to do when I'm with people that I love.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and that I'm comfortable with. If I'm not, then I don't say too much. But with my people, I can talk some stuff.
Yes.
I thank y'all for having me, and I have truly enjoyed myself.
Same here.
Then I forgot how tired I was until you just said 2 hours, and I was like, 2 hours? Jesus, I need to go take a shower and get ready for bed.
Yeah, yes.
Well, thank you all for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next Sunday. And thank you, Mama.
Maybe we'll have her on again
Love
here
you,
soon.
kids.
Love you.
Thank everybody for coming.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.